Welcome, guys. But before we do get started, all things start with prayer. And we've got Urev Magongo here. He's going to open and pray for us. So, before we start our program. Now, the person that I'm about to call up, and in my culture, we normally say the person that really welcomes people to a home is the father of the house. A person that can say, welcome, you are welcome, and feel at home. And he is a father, a teacher, he's a mentor, and he's the father of Mpumakapa TV. He's our chairman. I'm going to call upon you, Chair, Mr. Mutse Fuleni.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much. To God be the glory for just giving us this beautiful day. His mercies are new every morning. Great is his faithfulness unto us. I want to greet you, dear Legends, with those words this evening, because in your company we see a lot of the things that over a period of time that God has achieved through your lives in really giving children without a name a smile, and giving a child an opportunity to run a race in some marathon somewhere, and taking your monies and your family monies to get them to taxis or those Easter tournaments, to get them to have boots, to be able to kick a ball on some field somewhere. And some of them, you know that they've left their homes without having something to eat. You would stop somewhere for a bit of fish and chips, and they put a bit of oros, and they eat, they play, and forget about the difficulties at home. So you are like our teachers who've gone for long hours, empowering us as students. Today we stand in front of you as achievers because you've sacrificed your own children to make sure that we win, because you take a lot of your family time, and in some of the evenings you stand on the pitches and you stand on different grounds to make sure that the African child is not forgotten. Tonight we want to launch a celebration of your story. This is what this whole podcast is all about. It is to bring all our legends from the length and breadth of the Eastern Cape, black, white, everybody under one roof, so that our children can learn how triumphant you were in various circumstances. How did this idea come about? I think we must give the Herald newspaper credit for what has happened here. So recently we were invited by the Herald newspaper to celebrate their 180th anniversary or birthday. But what the Herald did, they did something very heartwarming. For that birthday, they had a theme, and the theme was around Siya Kolisi Foundation. That everybody who went there to make a contribution, they were taking the money to support the Siya Kolisi Foundation. So a hardworking lady there at the Herald called Rochelle de Kock, I need to say the producer in our language, the editor there of the newspaper, invited us to this wonderful event. So Mr. Yeye was there. I knew that he was coming, but you know Mr. Yeye is someone who always hides the ace. He doesn't put out all his cards out. So we are all nice there, wearing a bow tie and kitty bow and alles, and there's everything, 3-course meal, and Herald had organized this wonderful event for all of us. He interviews Siya Kolisi there, and he brought a story that was a story that contributes to your work as legends. Who groomed him? Who brought him up? His story at the Denkeke Stadium. His story with the Bombers. His story moving to Grey High School. That's the story that many people don't know about, because people, they like the top story, where he's already a fully fledged poke. But that story where all of you seated here have made a contribution to his development is a story not told. So I went to him after the dinner because he'd done an excellent interview. Then I said, Mr. Yeye, Nelash. Sometimes I take a back corner and call him by clean name when I want to cutter him to make a particular decision. I said, no, Nelash, we must do a podcast about the legends. So it was at that event of the Herald that inspired us to be here today. And I'm mentioning it because it is important that we know that all the media companies together are important in telling the story of sport and in telling the story of our legends. And we truly appreciate them for that.
Guys, as we all know that without Zola Yeye, as we welcome him, guys, on stage.
Mine won't be long. Just to applaud the initiative that's got grace and a positive attitude in it, and that's got an oxygen to do good. Pumakapa TV has just done that. It's compelling, it's riveting, and historical. It's a milestone that no one can neglect at this point in time, because you see a lot of podcasts, but this one is going to be unique. It's going to be about you. What I hate most as a person is when to stand next to your coffin or casket and relate a story about you and talk about anecdotes, how you played well. Because I didn't have the opportunity, I didn't have such a platform that's been established today. Because many heroes and heroines have since gone, they've since passed on, without their stories being told, because there was no opportunity to write books. Even if they did write books, their transcripts were never published, because it becomes a cumbersome exercise to publish a transcript. It's expensive, laborious, and takes too much to one. Case in point is Harold Wilson. He wrote his book. He had a huge collection of this history, rich history and heritage of the scores, of the tries, of the trials and tribulations of our people during those times. He tried his utmost best to publish that book. It was not to be. It became one of those that fell through and were never published. And you find in situations like this, I'm not a pessimistic person. I'm not a nefarious individual. That's what carries me. I'm a positive individual. That is why when the chairperson saw me at the 108th anniversary of the Herald, it said to me, Kulua, let's do this. And I laughed at him, because there was a lady constantly, shouted at me and said, I must start a podcast. I said, no, man, I don't want to start a podcast. But Mutsi saw something different. He was insistent to start a podcast. Here we are now, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are. A fertile platform for every one of you.
Just mention now the athletics. The next speaker for the episode of support is going to be the EPA president, Stig Stingling. Can you please join us on stage, sir?
Good evening, everyone. It's actually frightening to stand here in front of you tonight because I see so many legends here. I see so many people that reach the top, and for myself, then I feel small. Then I feel very small. But at least Derek is here. Derek Gosh, he's my man, so he'll support us on that. No, thank you very much for asking me to say a few words in support. I want to add on to what was said just now. And that is that so many things gets lost, that no one talks about. But it happened. And I take myself, as an athlete for 46 years, and being part of Unity and Athletics. I was on the first election, I was elected on the board. I became a vice president for one term, for my sins. And at the end of the day, those kind of things that happen, those passionate fights and try to integrate and bring normality to South Africa, those things needs to be talked about, because the youngsters of today doesn't know how much sweat went into that, and they don't know what happened before Unity with the different areas that were doing their own thing, and those areas at least they could then combine after Unity and become one. But that one was painful. It was painful. Let me assure you that it was very painful, because the past hurt us a lot in many ways. And sometimes people are saying, that, oh no, the white people, they had everything and what. But that as athletes, we couldn't run in the world. We couldn't participate in Olympics or anything. I went to Greece. I entered as a one of the Western countries. In fact, it was Germany, West Germany. We entered, we ran. They found out that we were there. They chased us. We had to get an aeroplane. We had to fly out of there to another place, so they can't find us. And I was fortunate to be 14th in that race. But we had to run away. And we had to sneak back into South Africa because there was big stories about it. But those are the kind of things that I think everyone that's sitting here tonight can relate to, can talk about. And we need to talk about that, because the youngsters don't know what happened in the past, how we got where we are. Because a lot of us have built the foundations, and we've built on those foundations. And today, we've got a house.
But right now, I just want to call upon someone that I really, really do like. I'd like to think that I am her fan. I'd like to call upon former Saru rugby player, Mrs. Nomsebenzi Totobe. You weren't expecting it. Can I just please call you up to just say a few words of support?
This one's caught me by surprise. Good evening, everyone. As she said, my name is Nomsebenzi Totobe. Kemna ke kuchiyo kwathiwa yiPraal lena, so ndingumqoqa, ndinguzikhali, ndingutiyeka, ndingudzolo bendonga. I'm very, very, very humble to be here. Guys, before I even say support for women in sport, I would like to talk about something that people don't understand about women's rugby or women in sport particular. Before Usiya Kolisi, there was Nomsebenzi Totobe, who was the first former black captain for the women's Springbok team. Now we don't say that much because we don't understand or we don't follow women's rugby. right? So those days, that was now 2002. I won't say my age, but that was 2002. I played for the Eastern Province team. I played for the Hilltop, and then I was the first captain for the Eastern Province. And then we were introduced to the England teams. We were introduced to Canada. We went to the first World Cup, 2006, all of that. However, no one backed the women in sport. The speaker before me, we talk about the sponsorship. We talk about all the things that we're supposed to be part of the women when you take these players abroad. But there was none of that. No dietitian, no kit for the ladies because they were not ready for the women's rugby team. But we had to be part of that. We had to make it work. We had to build the history. That is why we are here now. But I had a meeting now yesterday with Lynn Cantwell, who headed the women's team. She told me one thing to say, even if we didn't get what we were supposed to get, and we are not happy about that, we gotta be happy because we've made history. Yes, we made history, and it's written, and it's not gonna be erased anytime soon. That is why I am here today. But when you see Usia Kolisi and Nomsebenzi Tsotsobe, you're not gonna give us in this. We are not in the same platform. I'm talking about the bank. I'm talking about the sponsorship. I'm talking about the cars that they drive and where they're staying. That is the truth about it. I'm happy that we have this platform now because those are the things that we want to unpack. I do have a group of legends, conversation with legends that is now the women that played, former Springbok players. Those players are still bleeding. That's what you said. We're bleeding, but we still have to, at some stage, to be comfortable enough to support our youngsters, our young generation, because rugby has manifested to where it is now. We got the sponsor FNB. We've got Nike kit, the same as the guys' kit, but the money is still not there in terms of pay, in terms of contracting players and all of that, those things that we want. Virgin Active access to the players that are in rural areas, we're still finding fit in getting into that. We need to tap into that zone. But so Lynn, coming back to Lynn says to me that Nomsua at Garden Court will be staying there for this week before we play against Canada. I said to her, Lynn, what you have done for the women's rugby team, the entire South Africa, is the fact that you came and give us the games that we never played before. Canada is the sixth top tied team that no one can play with. We are going to play against New Zealand also now in July. So for her to bring those games in South Africa, it's a big deal for the women's team.
Thank you so much for that. So without wasting any time, I'm going to call upon our next speaker, and it is the president of EP Cricket, Mr. Donovan May.
Thank you, Program Director. Well, good evening, all ladies and gentlemen. Chairman of Palma TV, Zola Yeye. And Motsi, I think Louisa can leave his Warriors cap on because Zola was part of us. He was a part of the Warriors cap. We have just achieved gold at Cricket World Cup. And now that rugby is world champs and cricket is world champs, and Donald Trump goes and pushes up his tariffs, he needs to listen to us, he needs to watch us. I don't think he can play rugby or play cricket, probably plays golf, but let it be. When Louisa called me up to come and say a few words of support, even though I have another event, I said, of course I will do this. Zola's my friend. I've served cricket with him for many, many years. He just came back from World Cup. And I said to Zola that you are the guy that I want to serve on my board, which he has done diligently for many, many years. And he still serves on the board of cricket. And the message of support is, you have my blessing from cricket on what you're doing. These legends are legends that has a lot of stories to tell. There's going to be a lot of tears that's going to come from your stories. But also there's going to be a lot of joy that's going to come from your stories. And the youngsters need to listen to the stories that's going to come. A lot of hardship happened when these legends were playing cricket, rugby or cricket or whatever sport you were playing. I played cricket. I also had a lot of troubles and a lot of challenges, but I came through it. I served SA Cricket as a vice president for 3 years now recently, and I've achieved quite a bit at that level itself. And you still see the imbalances of the sports, where they're sitting on a national level or where they're sitting again at regional level. Eastern Province Rugby, Eastern Province Cricket is battling well-developing sportsmen at this stage. You don't see the names in the newspapers anymore, which is a major concern. I've addressed the matter with my boards, as Zola knows. We just approved a team for the Warriors that's going to play this year with Louisa. There's no stars in the team. The only players we have got there is Christian Stubbs and Matthew Breskin. All players are players not from this area, but players outside the area. And we have to look at our development. And the youngsters, when they listen to your podcast, Zola, which I will be watching on television, they need to listen to the legends and listen to their stories. And they need to learn diligence and be humble. There's a lot of our players at the moment that has gone to the top of the world that's also falling badly because they're not humble at all. I can say that because I served the cricket at the national level. And yes, Lady Totsobe, you're right. The imbalance of the pay packet is incorrect. And we at cricket, we are striving to do that. Our women are being paid well. They're professionals. They play all over the world. They're playing World Cups. And we hope that they're going to win a World Cup later this year in India when they go play again. So we look after our players. And yes, you know what, they might not get 150 rand and to buy a car. They earn thousands and millions of rands if not. And also a lot of endorsements. So we're looking after them. And we're looking after our players. But you have the blessing from cricket. You have our support. And we wish you well in your endeavour. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And unfortunately, that was the last speaker of this formal part of the program. But I'm excited because we're about to literally see what we all came here for, which is the podcast.
Good evening, good people from Bumakapa TV. Today we're launching a powerful platform where we'll converse and relate to the stories of yesteryear with legends, true legends of the game, be it soccer, be it rugby, be it cricket, be it judo, karate, and all that stuff. And it's the beginning of good things to come, where we unpack and unfold a rich history and heritage of our people. People, stories that were never told before. All that will be done on this platform on Bumakapa TV.